Okay, the recording has started. And we're going to get into our first poll today. So let me go ahead and pull that up for you guys. When you get a second, this is just kind of like a little icebreaker so you can see how long folks have been participating in Gift for Good. Okay, we got about half of folks who have answered. All right. It's kind of all over the place, honestly. I like that. All right, we're about 85% of folks who've answered. If you haven't already, feel free to answer that poll when you can. Give it about 20-ish more seconds. Okay, got about 9 more seconds and I'll close this poll. Alrighty, so the results here is that you can see most folks that are on this call have been participating for at least about 4 to 6 years, which is awesome. So it sounds like we got some veterans. So to my vets in the chat, okay, I expect y'all popping your ideas out there for folks who have just been participating, but who knows? To my folks, if this is your first year, you may also have great ideas too. So love. All right, so for our agenda today, first and foremost, we'll be talking a little bit about the psychology behind prizes. For those who don't know, I actually have my Master's of Science in Clinical Psych. So of course, I got to throw in like why we even do prizes, right? Like what is the purpose? How does it motivate behavior? So we'll be sharing a little bit about that today. The overall impact, right, that the prize pool had last year and going into this year, how we're enhancing the equity of the prize pool, and then breaking it down for this year and going through those strategies. A couple of things though, before we get going for today that I just want to highlight is first and foremost, if you all are having any Giving Day events, pretty please go ahead and submit what those events are as soon as you can on the events page. I'll have Lexi here drop that link into the chat for you guys momentarily, but mainly because we already have media who are media partners who want to set up early morning media spots on the Giving Day and that sort of thing. So they want to see what events are happening around town. So if you haven't already, drop your event if you got one going. And the next bit is about these prizes. So the great news is that we still have partners who want to contribute, and we are not going to deny them money to give to you all. The bad news is that I am still waiting on confirmation from 2 partners. So the total that I will share with you guys today, which is, while it's amazing, know that that is subject to change. There won't be any major changes, right, to the prize pool in the sense like I'm not going to be adding new prizes or that sort of thing, but know that the dollar amounts might change a little bit. We will be communicating that to you all as soon as that happens, both via email and our weekly updates, as well as on the nonprofit Facebook Gift for Good Louisville page. Okay, so just keep that in mind as we move forward. So for our next poll, get this up. What is the leading factor that motivates donors to give during Gift for Good Louisville? If anybody picks the Kim Kardashian one, I heart you. Okay, we had I love it. Okay. And again, I'll give you all about 10-ish seconds to answer that. Alrighty. Lacey says, number 1, but in my heart, okay. Love the icebreakers. Well, Lacey, if you know me, we got to throw a little humor in there, okay? All right, I'm going to end this poll, guys. So for those who said, we had an overwhelming say to make a positive impact in the community. And then the next was the prizes and fundraising incentives, which is interesting because let me share with you guys. In actuality, according to our donor survey that we give after the giving day, the question when we ask them what motivates you to give, overwhelmingly, they said the prize pool. Now, to make a difference, right, an impact in their community and the ease of giving, we're close second and thirds, right? So basically it was very convenient and they feel like they're making an impact, but the prizes is why they held right onto their donations. And I originally had a quote past that, but basically we had a quote saying that there was a donor who, because of the bonus pool and incentives, really felt like they were making an even bigger impact to their giving, and that they actually save all their donations for this one day, which I thought was like really powerful, because that just goes to show you the power, right, of the giving day and what this prize pool has when it comes to influencing donor behavior. Which is next how we get into the psychology, right, behind prizes. So basically what the prize pool does is it reinforces a behavior. So which is, right, we ultimately want that donor to give. Reinforcement just means to strengthen or encourage a behavior. And that is what we're doing with our prizes. When it comes to the breakdown of how we do this, we primarily use what's called positive reinforcement, meaning that we're adding something, right, to increase the response. So we are adding, these dollar incentives to boost a donor's gift during a specific time period, as an example. And then there are different ways you can reinforce behavior. So, and we refer to that as schedules of reinforcement. So we have two kind of main types that we use in our prize pool. The first is a fixed interval. So we're reinforcing that person's behavior after a fixed number of responses. So basically, we want you all to encourage people, right, to participate in the giving day. So that is why through our grand prize, we'll award an organization for the most overall donors, just as an example. The other is what we refer to as a variable ratio, which this is chef's kiss when it comes to reinforcing behavior, because it reinforces the person's behavior after an unpredictable number of responses. So that's like our random donation boosts. Folks aren't sure if their donation will get boosted, but the chance that they might is super exciting. And that's what reinforces them to give. Another good example of this that I always like to use is like the slot machine. So like you go to a slot machine, right? You keep putting quarters in, not knowing when what you're gonna get back, but you keep doing it anyways because it's unpredictable, right? In that response. So that's just a little bit of the psychology behind, right, the prize pool. And know that we are always thinking, how can we increase participation and increase the likelihood that people will give to you guys, okay? So that is the goal, really, of the prize pool. And here's my quote. I don't know how it got moved to this, but this is a direct quote from one of our donors from the donor survey. So again, I save all my donation money for this one day, so just keep that. So looking at last year versus this year, last year we had $375,000 in the prize pool. 85% of you guys actually accessed those funds, which was an 8% increase from 2020. We want to continue to see that access percentage go up, right? How cool would it be to have 100%, right, of organizations receive funds from our prize pool? That is the goal. And this year, we actually have the largest prize pool in Give for Good Louisville history. A round of applause. So nearly $500,000 we have already raised for you guys through the contributions that we have received from our generous community partners. Highly recommend you going and checking out who those folks are at giveforgoodlouisville.org on the main page. But shout out to Sam Swope Family Foundation and Churchill Downs for really coming through this year as our presenting prize partners. Guys, what this means is that this has given us more opportunity for you all to access literally make the prizes bigger, so more money, and two, be able to help enhance the equity of the prize pool by increasing the accessibility. The way we did this is a few different ways. First, instead of making one prize be $1,000 to one organization, regardless of your tier, we have now tiered out every single prize, meaning that you are really only going up against other organizations within your tier, okay? We did that a little bit last year, kind of testing that out. We saw the accessibility go up. Telling you right now, that accessibility, we're gonna get over 90%. I'm gonna go ahead and manifest that for everybody, okay, this year for who receives prize funds. So we did that. We also created match pools, right, that were based for organizations outside of Jefferson County, as well as for organizations who have lesser fundraising capacity. So for my tier 1 organizations. And fundraising capacity just means literally having people who can be the development, right? Like having a team of people who can find matching gifts and building a big donor base, right? Like our smaller organizations don't necessarily have that if you compare it to a larger org. So this year, the Community Foundation of Louisville actually sponsored a match pool for tier 1 organizations, and I'll show you guys that through our prize pool breakdown. A couple other ways, of course, that we're enhancing equity, so filling in those fundraising gaps, is we're also telling our donors and our fund holders, encouraging them to donate to organizations they may have never heard of, right, through the causes that they love. So having those conversations with them, because folks, right, can get really used to always donating to the same. And what we saw last year is not only did they continue to give to their favorite orgs, but then they also gave to new organizations because we already started those kind of communications. So it's an example with that. Now we're gonna get into the prize pool breakdown. Alrighty, so before we get into this, I do want to hit on something because I know that this was confusing last year, and will hold to account, it was confusing to me too, but we got some clarity. So know this, the donation portal for Gift for Good Louisville will open on September 12th and will officially close the following day on September 16th at 5 p.m. This gives people the opportunity, if they come to the site randomly, where they can donate, because we really hit a lot of advertising that week. If they're not able to give during the giving day, or if they forget to give. Fun fact about me, I got so busy with the giving day, forgot to give actually during the day. So my donation came in late. That is okay. What prizes will count towards that is our grand prizes, as well as the next part, our bonus pool, which we are calling this year a gift challenge. That is spelled out not only on the prize schedule, but here right in this presentation. And that just means that it'll be, for this one in particular, it's most gifts. On September 15th at midnight, those leaderboards will freeze. So wherever you end up on the leaderboard, that is how these gifts, right, will be determined, or these prizes will be determined. If you still continue to get gifts after the giving day, that'll show up on your giving day profile, as well as the overall total amounts, as we see with that ticker. If you have any questions about that or need any clarification, just email info@giftforgoodlouisville.org. Happy to, add some more detail to that. But I don't want us to go down a rabbit hole because we do have a lot to get through today. So our grand prizes are just like how they were last year, meaning that those who accumulate the most gifts from September 12th to the 15th across our tier categories here, and you can see what those prizes will be awarded. The strategy for this prize is that if you use the peer-to-peer fundraising tool, you will be able to expand your networks and accumulate more gifts. You can also use the matches and challenges if you want to set up your own match. That's another great way, right, to encourage new people to give to your organization. The next up is the gift challenge that was formerly known as the bonus pool. The reason why we changed the name is because honestly, this is a challenge. So meaning that as you secure 30 gifts, 60 gifts, 90 gifts, you will get to then access a higher and higher level, right, of a gift, of a prize amount. We've got $60,000 within each of those categories available, meaning that for all organizations who secured, 30 gifts in this category, they'll get an equal split of $60,000. That's why we won't have what that actual gift amount will be until after the giving day, because we have to see how that spreads out. The other point to point out here is that those are gifts based on, again, that you've accumulated from the 12th through the 15th. Same strategy here. Basically, if can the donations before September 15th go towards gift matches and challenges we set up on our pages? Stephen, I will get to that at the end. Thank you, though. Sorry, I just saw that pop up in the chat, but good question. But the strategy here is the same, to use the peer-to-peer fundraising tool, because again, that's how you can really expand your networks and not just always hitting your same donors over and over again. Next up for our new poll. It is, how are prizes randomly awarded within each tier category? So how do you think those happen? Fairy godmother. Okay, if for folks picking fairy godmother, one, I heart you as well, and two, if that were the case, I would probably just ask her just to like like make a wish and everybody who reaches their fundraising goals this year. Okay, looks like we have most people answered, so I'm going to go ahead and end this poll. And the results are that most folks picked the randomizing software. And guess what? You are correct. In other words, we're not just putting your all's names into a hat and drawing them out. We're not, shuffling them around on Excel, even though Dinah does use spreadsheets. She's a spreadsheet queen next to Lexi too. But we truly are using a randomizing software that makes sure that who we are selecting doesn't necessarily get repeated, right? That sort of thing, to make it as fair as possible and spread the wealth. So now we're going to get down into the strategic prizes. So these are the prizes that are distributed throughout the giving day on September 15th from midnight until 11:59 p.m. Like I said, each prize will be based on your tier category. And then these prizes are subject to audit. So it takes us at least, 7 days to go through, and I say us, really, again, Dinah and her team, looking at her, to go through, make sure, there's no buddy trying to game the system or, try basically making sure that everybody is good to go and receives your all's prize money accordingly. So this one I'm really excited about. New this year is what we are calling the greatest 2 minutes in giving. And before I get into it, Churchill Downs has historically sponsored what we call the match minutes. Match minutes were where we had designated time periods throughout the day where for up to a minute that folks could have their donations up to $100 be matched dollar for dollar. According to just feedback that we got, people weren't happy because they couldn't tell if their gift got matched. The matches would run out sometimes as quickly as 4 seconds to 11 seconds. There just wasn't a lot of folks who were like receiving a lot of benefit from it. In other words, like they would try for it but would never get it. So we actually crunched the math to see what we would need to try, and this again, just on estimations, to try to get to that full minute to match gifts. And folks, it was a lot of money and money that unfortunately was just, we wouldn't be able to do. So we got rid of match minutes this year and instead have replaced it with the greatest 2 minutes in giving. So one, because it will still excite people to give, and two, is still in line with, Churchill Downs. And as you can see here, we're doing a win place show. And y'all, so this means that we will award these win, place, show dollar boosts randomly to any of the 6 gifts that come within that 2-minute time period. We will announce what that 2-minute time period would be. Still just working on that with Churchill Downs and figuring out their race schedule for the day. But how insane is it that we could potentially have 2 organizations, right, that win $20,000? The caveat here with this is that if your organization wins one of these prizes, you will not be eligible to win any of the other strategic prizes. You will still be eligible for the grand prize, gift challenge, and if you're in a proportionate match pool, but you won't be eligible for anything else. And that is just to keep it fair and because these amounts are so huge. But I'm telling y'all right now, this is going to get people pumped because I'm already pumped about it and want to try to give during this 2 minutes. The way you can strategize around this is to activate your supporters, right, to give through those 2 minutes through email, phone, text, and social media. For the next strategic prize, this was formerly called the Newcomer Prize, but again, thanks to the contribution through Owsley Brown, we've just rebranded it to call it a New Donors Supporting a Healthy Kentuckiana Prize. And just like last year, these will be randomly selected donation boosts to 4 online donors giving to an organization for the first time, and we award those periodically throughout the day. The way to strategize around this prize is to ask your donors and fundraising champions to invite 5 people to give to your organization for the first time and using that as an incentive. So when I send out that communications, I'll say, hey, I'm inviting you to donate to this organization that I love because when you do, your donation might get randomly boosted by $1,000, maybe. You know what I mean? Like throwing in, again, that little bit of excitement there. The next in our strategic prizes are the AM prizes. The big thing, again, you can see here how we've broken those up by tier. And then the other is with the early bird. So again, we've switched. One of the things about making this prize pool more equitable is basing prizes off of donors and gifts versus overall dollar amounts. So we've really kind of switched the game here. This year, the early bird is for organizations by tier that receive the first online donation at midnight. So it doesn't matter how much they give, it's just you get the first gift at midnight to your org, then you get the $1,000, okay? And note that in the events of ties, because fun fact, we actually did have a tie last year for the early bird prize that we just split the prize evenly, okay, amongst those organizations. So that's $1,000 each. Up All Night, Morning Rush, and Mid-Morning Break for It are again just organizations by tier with the most online donors between those specific time periods, and being awarded, again, $1,000 each. The strategy here is, pick a prize and activate your supporters to give during that time period, using email, social media, text, however you so choose, okay? Similar to our AM prizes is we have our PM prizes. Again, same concept. So organizations by tier with the most online donors between these specific time periods will get, $1,000. Late night push. We also switch this up a little bit because we see a lull in late night giving for the giving day. So hoping that this will kind of increase donor behavior during that time, but making it that late period there. And again, the same strategy like before, pick which time period you want your folks to go with and share that with them. Now we get into kind of more based on a little bit of behavior versus time. So our P2P powerhouse, this used to be based on overall dollars raised. This year we're basing it on overall donors. So organizations, again, by tier with the most online donors through that peer-to-peer fundraising feature will be awarded $1,000 each. The strategy here is basically your fundraising champions can already set up a dollar amount goal, but also encourage them to set an individual donor goal, or you can set that for them, just however that works out, feel it out. and then encourage them to communicate to their networks about that particular prize. So saying, for example, I am fundraising for the Community Foundation of Louisville, which, by the way, we don't participate in the Giving Day. I'm just using that as an example. I fundraise for the foundation, and I have a donor goal of 20 donors. And if you all help me meet this goal, then I might also help this organization get the P2P Powerhouse Prize, right? So just encouraging them to communicate that. The next involves with communications for our social media and Give for Good Lou Live. So again, similar to last year, but except we're breaking it up by tier. So any organizations by tier with the most creative posts around hashtag Give for Good Lou leading up to and on the Giving Day. And the same with the most creative Facebook Live videos using both of those hashtags so we can find you all and pull those. That's how we look them up. Okay, so we type in the hashtag, look up to see who's doing what, and pull all of those together. Basically, the strategy around this is that what we're looking for is that you should have a strong visual component with a specific goal in mind that tells a compelling story over time. We'll also like to mention here, if you do use our graphics, that's not going to count against you. If you tell your story in a way that's still compelling using those graphics, that still works, okay? So don't feel like you're like, oh, I'm going to be counted out. But again, if you have somebody who's doing your social media, or if you feel like this is a real strong suit of yours, then share these prizes with your team or with that person, so that way they can make sure, hopefully try to get it. We will be having golden tickets and power prizes return this year. So basically at every hour of the Giving Day, we randomly select an organization to receive a $1,000 Derby City Gaming golden ticket. In the same kind of vibe with the power prizes, we'll have a lucky donation be boosted by $2,000. And I'm sorry, donation for the golden ticket, not organization. That's not what I meant to say. These are donation boosts. And we'll announce those again via social media. The other big rule about these is that an org can't win more than one of these either. Again, trying to spread the wealth, trying to make sure that everybody can win. The strategy here is, again, similar to the others. Make sure if this is something you want to go for, communicate those to your supporters, that their donations could be randomly boosted by $1,000 or $2,000 throughout the day. Again, thinking about our variable ratio, right? Psychology behind that excites people. And then we get into our proportionate match pools. So historically, we have had our Southern Indiana partners and Shelby County partners create a match pool for their for organizations who have indicated that county on your registration form. That is how we pull those lists. So double check, make sure to look at your registration form, that you have the right county selected, so that way we make sure that we pull you for these match pools. And what that means basically is that at the end of the Giving Day, we see with their proportionate matches. So Dinah works her little magic here and sees how each of those totals will play out within those organizations, okay? And the strategy behind this is that you can communicate to your supporters that their donations will be matched dollar for dollar thanks to, these specific partners. Not only is it a great way to highlight that partner and give them kudos, right? Because I love seeing that kind of stuff, guys, because we want them to continue doing this every year. And two, but everybody, right, I loves a dollar for dollar match, okay? Next up, returning this year is the Why I Give donor prize. You'll actually be seeing some of these quotes this year in our ad campaign for the Giving Day, which is awesome. But basically leading up to the Giving Day and on, well, actually, I'm sorry, by September 14th, they need to have their responses due. Folks can click on the link in here, as well as we have the link on our prizes page to submit their answers for Why I Give. And then they pick which organization they would want that $250 to go towards. And that's how we laid out. An organization cannot win more than 3 of these, okay? But they're really, really inspiring to read. So it's good stuff. The The strategy here is share that Why I Give link with your networks leading up to the giving day and your supporters, and highlight that they could potentially win $250 for your organization. Also important to note, they can't just keep submitting responses for you guys because we'll only count them once, okay? So even if somebody came in with 3 different reasons of why they give to your organization, they're only going to get counted one time for one submission. The other thing that I wanted to highlight with you guys is our Ambassadors for Good program. So one way we are trying to amplify and elevate the Giving Day is by partnering with local influencers and community leaders who have really great platforms and who can, you know, push that up the chain. Our Giving Day guy, Chris Strub, who some of you may be familiar with, you know, has got tens of thousands of followers on Twitter. And then we, of course, had, you know, a lot of radio stations like last year, like 106.9 and 96.5, who were elevating the Giving Day through their posts. To encourage these ambassadors to participate, we give them $250 in a grant to award to an organization of their choosing. There really is no strategy around this. This is, again, just something that I wanted to make you all aware of, that folks may have received last year even and not know that it was coming their way. And also with the post Giving Day surveys. So we will have, after the Giving Day, we send out a survey to organizations to fill out and to donors to fill out. By filling these out, you could be randomly selected and awarded $500 each. We will have $2 $500 for organizations, $2 $500 right now for donors. Okay, it's just a way, again, to incentivize and motivate people to fill out those surveys. And fun fact, I read every single response in that survey and do really take those in and try to see, okay, how can we make the Giving Day better, right, for everybody involved? So please fill them out because I like them. And then going into our last poll. So how do you plan on sharing basically information about prizes to your networks? This is a multi-choice, so feel free to click all the options, however you so choose. Kind of see how this is going to be laid out. Alrighty. So I'm going to end the poll here. We have most people who have participated. Okay. And it's actually kind of a fairly, you know, even kill, with email and social media being the top 100%. That's also how we communicate the most too with the Giving Day ourselves. But I do want to note fundraising champions in particular. Utilize your supporters, right? Again, work smarter, not harder. They're already committed to helping you fundraise for the day. They're going to be sharing that stuff out, and they're a great way to turn what has been a, you know, maybe an annual donor for you or whomever, volunteer right into a fundraising champion. The other part is the text. If you do have the ability to have people opt into text, that's a really great way to keep them directly informed about the prizes that are going on throughout the day and the timing of it. Even with our fundraising champions, if they sign up for that link, those fundraising champions can actually contact the donors via text that donate to their campaign as well. So that option is also available for them. Just heads up. And I love all of the above. Yes, the more the better. Now, this last one is just overall strategies that I just wanted to hit on with you guys, because I think that even though we broke down each strategy for each prize, there are some that I just kind of want to, you know, hit on. First and foremost, know what you're good at and go with it. Don't feel like you have to go for every single one of these prizes or communicate about every single one of these prizes. Honestly, that would be a lot for somebody to consume. So think about what works best for your team and for your organization and for your supporters and go with that. The way you can determine that is by engaging them both before and during the Giving Day. A couple of ways you can do this is either, you know, post a poll on your guys' IG and Facebook stories, or send out a survey asking your supporters, hey, which prize do you plan on going for? Which prize are you most excited about, right? To see what they want, okay? Or what they feel like they could go for. Also communicate, again, if there are certain prizes that you know you definitely feel like you can get, communicate those to them as well. Sorry, real quick, cannot see my screen. Make sure to email and schedule out those prizes, so that way you're communicating what they are. It's just the prizes page is the easiest way to do that. But again, email out the prizes page so they can see it, highlight the ones that you hope to get. The other is to, again, sorry, I can't see my notes here. Okay, schedule out posts ahead of time. So the Facebook and Instagram have the ability to where you can schedule out posts. If you have certain timed based prizes that you plan on going for, go ahead and get those posts scheduled, so that way you're not having to worry about them throughout the day. If you have folks that you can either call or text or email, say, hey, this next prize is coming up, make sure to help us try to get this by making a donation during this time period, right? However that may look to you guys. And then the last one is to send out calendar invites actually to these people as a strategy. So if you do, again, have these time-based type of strategic prizes that you're going for, send them a calendar invite to block off that chunk of time on their calendar. And then that way they'll see it and they'll be reminded by it as well. So just a few examples of how you can do this. The next is to course, it says create a video, reel, or TikTok. Folks, I'm here to tell you all, for communications purposes, video is the king, queen, right, of user consumption. People like to see videos. That's just how they're getting information nowadays. And in these videos, you don't have to go on a long explanation. Hit what you want to hit, like what's the goal, right, that you're trying to communicate, and then provide more of the details in the caption. Okay, so I do just want to share, try to create videos if you can. If you're looking for ideas, type in hashtag Gift for Good Lou on Instagram, Facebook, and see what other people are doing. Also, check out our social media tips and tricks within your nonprofit toolkit to see not only example posts, but then also, again, just some strategies around that. And GiveGab does have a social media, brief kind of social media training video that we've provided up there as well. And then last but not least, I like to end again just on some quotes from the community. This is directly from them. They're all anonymous. But basically, the first one, you know, it says, I can't give much, so Gift for Good helps my donation give further. Guys, that's what the Giving Day is all about, because it's not about the big, you know, major givers. It's about how the combination of many small contributions can make a large impact. And that, honestly, quote just solidifies that. And then you can see in the others, right, again, that same common theme of how the bonuses and the prizes make them feel like their impact is going further with their dollars, because it is. So, and now we will end with questions, because we have what? Cool. We got some good time. All right, let me move around my screens here. All right, Lexi, can you help me?
Yes, I can. Want me to read off the first question?
Sure, yeah.
Okay. Stephen Carr had asked, will we get the images of the prizes to use for social media?
That is a great question, Stephen. And actually this year, yes, I will be issuing those out to you guys. I saw last year some of you all just pulled them too from our Stephen Carr, yeah, from our webpage. Right now, I literally have my graphics designer working on them, mainly because I will also be having those sponsor logos included on them. We got to give, or partners, we got to give credit, right, to our partners. So those will be made available. I will be pushing those out via email and on our Facebook nonprofit group. I will see if GiveGab can get those added for me. Just can't guarantee that right now.
Awesome. Travis asked, how much does matching donors affect donor behavior?
How much does matching?
Matching donors affect donor behavior.
Yeah. So our matches and challenges last year, and you can see this in the 2021 impact report. Lexi, if you want to drop that link in the chat, that would be dope.
Yeah.
But we actually raised, not we, you all raised over $1.2 million just by using matches and challenges alone. And for organizations who actually use to either set up a match, or again, we're maybe in a matching pool, right? Those all kind of count towards this data point, raised a little bit over I think $3,000 on average more than those who did not. So that's why we highly encourage you all to set up your own matches. We do have, if you want more information about matches and challenges and how to do that, go to the trainings page. We do have the video from the training on there, as well as the presentation and slides. And then know that the way those matches will be presented throughout the giving day is that there will be a matches page where donors can navigate to and see all the matches happening throughout the day. And then they will also pop up on your giving day profile. The way you can recruit people to create a match for you is that you can either have a group of individuals, like your board, maybe, all contribute a certain dollar amount, right? That goes up to, I don't know, let's just make up $5,000. Or again, you can have a corporate partner or a major donor who gives $5,000. And there is opportunity for you all to, by setting these up yourselves, to then that partner can get recognition, or they can be super anonymous, however they kind of lay out. But yes, matches and challenges definitely work and help you raise more money. Because at the end of the day, that's you're doubling your impact. If I can give $10 to WAGs on the day of, then and that turns into 20, I'm gonna do that, right? I'm gonna do that option, Chris. It's like, yes.
Awesome. And let's see, I think we had one more question, which I think we answered earlier, which is, do we know when the biggest 2 minutes of giving will happen?
Yes. Okay. So I was hoping to have that for you guys right before this training, but they're still figuring out. We're working with Churchill Downs because we're trying to time it in between horse races. Like, we're going to be announcing it like in between a horse race that day. For those who may not be familiar, Churchill Downs on Thursday evenings has a program called like Twilight Thursdays, where there's evening horse races, live music, dollar beers, all that jazz. So we will be having some stuff happen for Gift for Good there to hopefully, increase participation in the giving day. But as soon as, guys, trust me, as soon as those 2 minutes comes out, we're going to be sharing that. And not just with you guys, we're going to be hitting the press hard with that as well, because it's just an exciting time. And then I see Sandy came in. Okay. How does the match get counted in the totals, or do they need to make their match online on the 15th? Sandy, are you meaning like the matches, like the match pool from the prize pool? Or are you talking about your own match that you make up?
I think she was thinking, yeah, her own match.
Okay. They will automatically, it'll just automatically show up in your totals. There's a little button that's already checked for you actually when you set your match up, called enable auto matching. So as those matches pop up, that'll pop up in your totals. And fun fact this year, guys, GiveGab improved their software thanks to, right, all of the feedback that we've been giving them over the years, to where donors can actually see when their donation gets matched, which is awesome, because that's been a big complaint for a long time. So that'll pop up on you'll see that on your giving day profile, right, as those donors are coming in, and they'll say matched by, whatever. And then Stephen says, Stephen, no need to apologize. Questions are welcome here. Answer my question about early donations going towards matches and challenges we secure for our organizations. That is a great question. Let me double check with GiveGab on that because I don't want to tell you the wrong thing. But if you set up your match, because there's a time frame that you can set your match up, right? You can choose when your match appears on your Giving Day profile and when it goes away, basically. And when it goes away, that means it's also removed from the system and it's closed down. Okay, so nobody else can contribute to that. Let me verify that with GiveGab, and then I will follow up with you via email. And I might even pop that into, and if anybody else is curious, I'll pop that into the Facebook nonprofit group. Great question, though. Okay.
And it looks like we have a question. Yummy, do donations that come in on 9/16, September 16th before 5 p.m. count for any?
You are muted, Lexi, but thank you so much for reading that to me, because fun fact, guys, she's right across the way from me, so I heard it. Do donations that come in on the day after, basically, before 5 p.m. count for anything? No, they won't. I mean, they'll count. They'll still be donations to you guys. And that's the other thing that I did want to say this. Even if you all don't win a prize, you still got that person's donation. So keep that in mind, right, as you're going through the Giving Day. Because at the end of the day, what do we want prizes to do? We want it to increase participation in the Giving Day and thereby increase donations to your all's organization. So as long as we're doing that, and as long as that prize is doing that, we're doing something right. Okay. Any other questions, guys? We still have a few minutes left.
I think. Oh, we got one more.
Can we continue to use the peer-to-peer software in the week following this prize period? So to confirm, you mean like after the Giving Day is over, can you continue to use it throughout the year? Is that the... If that is the case, yes. Okay. So the peer-to-peer fundraising feature will be live from really now. Like your peer-to-peers, you can already start signing them up. They can still get donations to receive donations, yes, from the time the donation portal opens to the time it closes. But once it closes, it's done. And then if you would like to continue using the peer-to-peer fundraising feature for other fundraisers that you may have throughout the year, you'll have to get with GiveGab and talk with basically their sales team and see if that's something you can budget into. But it is a really great feature, and they've made a lot of better improvements, like made it easier for folks to get signed up, and again, make that streamlining process of them stewarding donors and that sort of thing. You're welcome. Yeah, no problem. Okay, folks, if we don't have any more questions, again, just want to reiterate a few things. One, the good news is that we do have more money that's going to be coming in. The bad news is it didn't come in time for this training, but that's okay, because again, I'm not going to deny funds to you all. When that happens, once we get that check, I will be communicating those changes, making those changes accordingly, not only on the prizes page, but to the prizes schedule, which breaks down prizes even more in greater detail, and communicating that out through email and through the Facebook nonprofit group. The other bit too is about events. Again, know that our media partners are already looking for events that might be happening around town on September 15th that they can go to and do early morning spots. For folks who have never done an early morning spot, that means get ready to be at work at like 4:30 a.m. And they do live shots at basically at your organization featuring different hopefully fun interactive pieces, learning about your org, what your event is, all of that jazz. So if you do have events, please submit those at giftforgoodlouisville.org under the events tab. And yeah, we'll have our next weekly email update going out on Thursday. So if you haven't been seeing those, email info@giftforgoodlouisville.org to let us know that you want to be added to that list or you haven't seen them. Check your spam folders. And yeah, guys, happy fundraising. We are 43 days away. And I'm very excited for you all. I'm already going to push this out to the universe that you guys are all going to have successful fundraising campaigns and that we're going to get all of this nearly $500,000 of prizes just flushed into your all's accounts. So I appreciate all the hard work that you guys do. Thank you for joining us today. We'll follow up in an email with a survey, presentation slides, and of course our recording. Okay, and we'll post those on the trainings page as well. You are welcome, Maria. Thanks. All right, y'all. Peace. Happy fundraising.